Welcome to the Hump Day Hangout podcast by Semantic Mastery, where we answer your local SEO questions every week at 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm Adam Moody, and my partner at Semantic Mastery, Bradley Benner, will be sharing his decades of expertise based on not only helping others, but running his own agencies and businesses in the space. If you'd like to join us live on YouTube each week, just go to www.semanticmastery.com/HDHO at 4 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. If you'd like to ask a question ahead of time, go to the same link, www.semanticmastery.com/HDHO at any time and submit it there. Don't forget, you can get the Semantic Mastery Local SEO Toolkit for free at the same URL. Okay, let's get going with this episode.
We shouldn't have to worry about.
All right, we are live. All right, everybody, if you're watching this, we are trying out a little bit new live streaming situation, so bear with us if we have any technical difficulties, but it looks like we are live and good. If you're watching, could you leave a comment on the page? Let us know that we are good. Other than that, just wanted to say welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode number 580. Today is the 14th of September. Of January 2026. We have not fast forwarded 8 months. We're still in January, and we're going to get into answering your local SEO questions here in just a minute. Going to take a little bit here, a couple of announcements, and say hi to the guys. So, Chris, how you doing today?
Doing good. A bit freezing and cold here. We had quite snow drop over the weekend, and yesterday it rained, so like everything was pretty slippery. But other than that, pretty good. Can't complain. Busy as usual with work.
Nice. Well, we got the same kind of weather going on here. We got, I think, 3 inches of rain coming today. Then it's going to drop below freezing, and then we're supposed to get 4 inches of snow on top of that. So tomorrow's going to be real interesting. Bradley, how about you? You're on the road, man. Where are you at today?
I'm in Dallas. I'm just outside of downtown Dallas, and just got here, I don't know, about 90 minutes ago, really. So I haven't been here very long. Just got checked into my hotel. There's my hotel, and there's a brewery that was like 1.5 miles away. So I said, "Hey, this is fucking perfect. I'll go sit there."
So what are you doing in Dallas, Bradley? After you get done?
I'm speaking at the SEO Rockstars event. So tomorrow's the VIP day, and then Friday and Saturday I think are the kind of like main event days, and then I'll be leaving Sunday. As I drove down here, it was a 15-hour drive. It was a shitty drive too. I was hoping it would be kind of a nice drive, like, scenic and all that. It's not. Like I went from this morning because I stayed in Little Rock, Arkansas last night in a hotel after a 10-hour drive. And then so it was 5 hours from Little Rock to Dallas. And I drove that today, and it's just flat and straight, and like it's like dead straight and flat, nothing around for like 300 miles. And it's like, oh my God, well, it's about 250 miles. And then once you get north of Dallas, it starts to, stuff starts popping up. But man, it was just a really boring drive. I was just like, that sucked. I probably should have flown anyway.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you got good weather. I've driven a lot through there over the years, and that can be a little dicey in the winter. So glad it worked out.
Yeah, it's nice. It's actually nice. It's like 60 degrees out right now out here. So very nice.
Well, a couple quick announcements before we get into questions. Wanted to tell everyone about the Local Mastery newsletter. This is our weekly newsletter, the paid version. This gives you 5 to 7 actionable local SEO insights each week with an action item for each, so that you or your team can put these to use immediately. And this is all, again, presented in a newsletter that you can read in under 30 minutes each week. There's also the Local Ops SEO Blueprint. It's just a systemized approach for local SEO success. You can find out more about that at localops.semanticmastery.com. And last but certainly not least is the Mastermind. If you are a freelancer or an agency owner and you want to take your local SEO agency or consulting to the next level, definitely want to check that out. Find out more at mastermind.semanticmastery.com. Cool, guys. That is it on my end. Anything else you want to cover before we jump into it?
No, I just realized that the scheduled Hump Day Hangout event was set to unlisted, so nobody was seeing it. So I just set it to public, and hopefully it'll push out across people's subscription feeds. So anyway, yeah, this is the first time we're trying. We ditched StreamYard, guys, and we're using, like, I upgraded my Google Workspace account to an enterprise account, which allows Google Meet to stream directly into YouTube. So we cut out that third-party application. So this is the first time we're doing the stream via Google Meet, and hopefully it works. But like I said, probably take a time or two for us to work the bugs out. So other than that, I think we can jump into questions. We got a whole lot of them. Should I just go?
Yeah, go for it. Let's head over. I'm pulling up chat and trying to figure out, trying to do split screen in Chrome. Now you can put two things in one tab, but it's kind of weird with Meet being popped out. So I'll just say, if anyone's now live, give us some feedback. Let us know that you're watching.
Yeah, it's live now. I can see some people popping in. So, all right, cool. What's up, Alex? I see Alex commented in there as well. So, all right, guys, cool. Well, let me go ahead and grab the screen and we'll get into questions. Like I said, we got a number of questions. It's funny, last week we had very few because we didn't have the redirect set up properly from the week before. It looks like people were holding their questions for 2 weeks and then they just blasted them all out. So, all right, let me grab the screen and we'll get into it. Okay, you guys should be seeing my screen.
Let's see. It's coming up. There we go. Good to go.
Okay, sweet. All right, so the first question is from John. He says, hey, happy belated New Year, Bradley. I am ranking a client website in GVP well locally in Sarasota, Florida. Now he also wants to expand and also rank well all the way up to Tampa. What tips do you have to do without opening another location in Tampa? Well, there's not much you can do other than you can, push to try to rank organically for search queries related to the products and services the company provides, and then location modifiers for any of the cities and towns between Sarasota and, I guess, Tampa. Is that where you said? Yeah, Tampa. So Sarasota and Tampa. So you can rank organically for that. Keep in mind, organic search results, like ranking in organic search results, does not really generate leads. Not for local businesses, really. It's because you have to go so far below the fold now to get to the first non-paid organic listing. You know what I mean? Because there's Google local service ads, usually, depending on what the query is. Local service ads, regular search ads. Then there's sometimes maps ads, so ads in the maps pack. Then organic maps listings, right, in the local finder section. And then so you have to like scroll below the fold to even get to the first non-paid organic listing. So as far as generating leads with just organic assets or pages that can rank in organic search, it's not going to help much. It can influence AI search performance though, which can lead to, if the brand is mentioned in AI search and then a consumer then goes searches for each of the brands that the AI model returned, then you could rank for that because it's a brand search, right? So anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is, if you're trying to generate leads from Google search, then you got to pretty much be in maps. That's the only way it's going to work. Or you could run ads, right? That's the other option. Because like I mentioned before, organic assets only aren't going to typically produce leads. Very few. I mean, you'll get an occasional lead from it, but you won't get many. The vast majority are going to come through the Maps pack. And so how do you get in the Maps pack? Without another GVP, the only way that you could do it is with a location extension in Google Ads, right? Because that's how you get a paid listing into the Maps pack, is with the location extension, which means the street address has to be published. It cannot be a service area business. And I don't know if there's a limitation. There likely is a limitation as to how far a distance you can push. You can actually have the maps, the location extension work or apply to a local to a Google ad, if that's clear. Like, in other words, in order to get into the Maps pack with a Google ad, you have to have the location extension enabled. It has a published street address. But there's likely some sort of a limitation into how far Google will allow that business location to appear in the Maps results when it's a Google ad with a location extension enabled, because it doesn't make sense for somebody just to pay to, like, for example, how local searches is very much by proximity. So where is the Google business profile in relation to and distance to the consumer from wherever they are physically located when they perform the search? And so if the organic algorithm is that way, I can only imagine that the paid algorithm also has a limitation into how much coverage or how wide, how far away can you get into the Maps pack with a paid location extension type of an ad. I'm sure there is a limitation. I don't know what that is, but so I don't know how far you can push into, like, between I don't know what the distance is between Sarasota and Tampa, but if it's quite far, it's likely that you wouldn't be able to just do a location extension ad and get ranked or in the map spec all the way up in Tampa. So your options then are to do organic only assets or create another Google business profile. So those are pretty much your only three options, guys. It's organic, Google Maps, like organic, like meaning non-paid Google Maps, and then paid Google Maps, which, as I mentioned before, it has to be location extension with the street address has to be published, or else you can't enable the location extension. Those are your only three options for, you know, local search right now. So the other option is to just, you know, do a lot of branding and get people to search for the company by name, so by brand instead of by a generic search. And that's another way that you can get much broader coverage because then you're training consumers to search for the brand instead of a generic keyword. That's good. It's a good question. All right, next one is from Roy. He's a number of these questions from Roy, so we'll go ahead and get started. So, hey, Bradley, I'm looking for your perspective on moving away from rank and rent, local lead gen into either cold email lead generation for B2B businesses or pay per lead gen for nationwide businesses using media buying. For context, I started rank and rent and lead gen in 2020. It took 22 months to become profitable. After about 4 years, to hit 5,000 a month, hit 8,000 a month in 2024, and I'm currently at 11,500 a month. That's about 10K a month in profit with just 2 clients. What I'm realizing is that rank and rent is slow to scale due to SEO timelines, Google volatility, and the reality that some local business clients are unstable to work with. That is true. What I've heard about cold email lead gen is that it's much faster to validate and produce results with relatively low upfront operating costs, but can become operationally heavy at scale with many clients. That is also true. What I've heard about nationwide pay per lead using media buying is the client budgets and per client revenue are much higher, and the model scales well by selling leads rather than services, but media buying is harder skill to master, and the income is more hands-on than rank and rent. That is, well, yeah, and I'm not a media buying type of a guy. I was never really interested in that side of it. So, but yeah, there is definitely a learning curve. If you can get good at it, there's no question. Like, you know, if there's always been fights and arguments between advertisers and SEOs, and you know, there's no question advertising scales easier if you understand the platforms, right? And you have a good offer. It's got to be tested, right? You have to have, you know, it's direct response marketing. That's what advertising is, really, right? You're trying to get the consumer to take a direct, or in this case, maybe if it's B2B, well, it depends. I think you're saying that you would be doing cold emailing for businesses, which means they're probably targeting consumers. So it's B2C market. Direct response marketing, you know, and advertising is basically direct response marketing. You want them to take an action when they click an ad, they land on a landing page. You want them to take whatever conversion goal it is that you want them to take. Opt in, purchase something, whatever it is. Okay. And so if you test your offer, you've got a good, compelling offer that converts, then, you know, advertising can scale. There's certainly a diminishing return to a certain level of, you know, once you get up to a certain level and all that. But, you know, it's definitely something that you can generate faster results with if you understand the advertising platforms that you're working in. Okay. SEO, on the other hand, you know, that has a, it's kind of a longer term investment, but it can produce significantly higher returns when done properly if you rank. But you're right, there's a lot of volatility with that, where it's not quite as stable as the advertising side of things, right? Because algorithm changes and all that other kind of thing. So personally, I've always been more interested in the SEO side of things and the advertising side of things, but it's you know, it's certainly a good model if you have a good, compelling offer that converts and you've got buyers willing to pay, that kind of thing. It's so. But I know there's a real demand for cold email, and I know because it works, and I know because I've been using cold email in my own agencies now for 5 years, and it works incredibly well. And that's something that I think most local businesses don't even know is really accessible to them because they don't have any idea how to do it, or they've tried it on their own, but they don't know what they were doing, and so therefore they got no results. And there's not a whole lot of companies out there that are targeting local type businesses with email marketing services. Adam, my partner Adam, he does email marketing services, but Adam, I don't think you really ever worked with local businesses, have you? It's mostly been with like e-com and stuff, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. And so, if you can develop a service for doing cold email lead generation for local businesses, especially if you pick a particular industry, and that's what if you followed us for any amount of time, Roy, you already know I'm going to tell you pick an industry and learn how to generate or produce results with cold email for that industry first before trying it to dabble in any other industry, if that makes sense. But if you do that properly, I think there'd be a lot of demand for it. I would rather, and again, this is just my own personal preference, I would rather go after the email marketing side of, the kind of like opportunity for email marketing for local businesses over advertising services or lead gen via ads, because I think there's greater opportunity and there's less competition for, there's lead gen, people selling leads have been around since I got started, probably way before that too, but I got started in 2010. So when I kind of got started doing lead gen and rank and rent and pay per lead, I think it was 2011 or 2012 before I started pay per lead. But so I was doing lead gen way back then. And so we're talking, what, 14, 15 years now, 16 years. And but cold email for local businesses, again, I know there's a demand for that. Or and the funny thing is that's one of those things where I don't even know that there might not be as much of a demand there's probably more demand than it seems to be, because there's not a lot of companies providing that as a service. And it's, so I think if you had a service, it would be a blue ocean market, is what I'm saying. I don't know if that's clear or not, but if it were me personally, I would go after the kind of cold email. That's the avenue I would choose versus ads. But I've never been a fan of running ads. I know they can be profitable. It's just not something I've had a desire to do. So cold email is, it can be challenging, but man, when you get it right, it works really well. So, yeah. All right, next one. Do you have experience with any of these, either of these models? Yeah, okay, I think I answered that one good enough. So we're going to move on to the next one. I noticed on TrueCareHQ website, you seem to be using AI voice in the podcast. Can you please tell me what AI voice service software you're using to produce AI voice content with your own? Yeah, that's 11 Labs. It's just 11 Labs. 11 Labs Pro or whatever. You have to have, whatever, some middle. It's not this. I don't think it's the first level of subscription, but it's like the second level up or whatever. It's just an 11 Labs account. I had to upload, I don't know, like 2 hours worth of audio content, which is fine. I just pulled a couple YouTube videos or whatever, and then just trained my voice. So, and then now I've got a number of apps that I use that actually use my voice now for stuff, and I just connect to the API from 11 Labs, and it uses my voice in those other applications as well. So it's easy to do. Just go to 11 Labs, search 11 Labs, you'll find it, and you'll see it's quite easy to do. Next one. Hey, Bradley, on your existing local lead generation clients, or one of my existing local lead generation clients wants to expand massively, and they're paying me to build out a new lead generation assets, websites, and GBP listings for them. But I don't want to be in the local lead gen business anymore. And doing the work to build out and optimize a new lead generation assets takes me away from transitioning to another business model. Okay. Therefore, I'd like to find a white label service that can build out and optimize the GBP listings and websites for my clients. And websites my clients want me to build, so my time can be freed up from it and I can be doing the business model transitioning work. What trustworthy and effective white label service would you recommend when it comes to building and not optimizing new lead generation assets, websites, and GBP listings? Well, we could do the GBP for you at Semantic SEO, and I have a web development or design team that's been working with me now for over 4 years. They're in India. The guy that runs it, his name is Neeraj, and he's a really, really nice guy. He's, like I said, he's been working with me for over 4 years now. And I typically just refer white label clients that need on-page optimization or web design work done. I just refer them to Neeraj. And then Neeraj, you would, like, the clients that I refer to him, I don't get a cut of it. There's no affiliate. There's no incentive. It's just he's a good dude. And I just don't like getting involved in the websites, especially clients' websites. I just don't like getting involved in that. That said, Jeremy from Press Advantage has launched, I think he's calling it Site Swarm now. And that should be, like, it's kind of open for beta this week because of the event that I'm speaking at. And he pushed really hard to try to get at least a sign up for beta testers, like a waiting list or something. Anyway, he's got a new platform that he's been building specifically for the last like month or so, and in part because I requested it. And he sees that there's opportunity in it, which will do it. It replaces a number of things, Roy. Number one is, originally I asked him to build this site builder to replace WordPress for the directory. WP Geo directory is what I use for Tree Care HQ, but I freaking hate WordPress. Anybody that's followed us on YouTube at all for any amount of time knows that I hate WordPress. And so every time I got to log into my stupid directory, I get irritated because I know it's WordPress and I hate WordPress. And so I just asked Jeremy, I was like, dude, any chance you could build an HTML site builder that has a vibe coding feel to it, so that, we don't have to do all the old school shit that we used to have to do. And instead, like, I'd rather just be able to upload a CSV file of contacts that I want to add to the list, the directory, and then just chat with a chat box and have it do whatever it is that I need it to do, to customize the site and everything else. And he said, yeah, I think I can do that. Well, he did it. Well, then since then, we've also added additional use cases to that site building, that directory site building platform, that makes it a site builder, period, not just a directory site builder. Number one is local lead generation sites. So this gets specifically to what you were asking about, Boy. The local lead generation sites, I had a template and kind of a system that I had built in High Level. And I got it streamlined down to, I could do a build in about 3 hours, local lead generation site within High Level in about 3 hours. My team, when I trained a few VAs to do it for me, they could do it in about 3.5 to 4 hours. But that still sucks, right? I mean, it's way better than taking, 8 to 10 hours to build a site, but it still sucks. And it was still tedious and everything else. And in the directory hybrid agency training, the coaching program, the two biggest hangups for our members was, number one, WP Geo directory. So setting up that, learning, just the learning curve of that whole new website, WordPress platform and builder, and, plugins and all that. And then the other one is High Level, learning High Level. Well, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do. I mean, I try to make it as easy as possible with High Level by having, pre-configured workflows and all that other kind of stuff. But there's still a learning curve in High Level. And if you're going to use High Level, it's just you have to learn it. And it takes time. That's it. There's no way around it. You can try to speed it up a bit, but there's a learning curve with High Level. So I asked Jeremy, I was like, one of the things I want to do is replace WP Geo directory with a directory builder that is kind of like a vibe coding field, where people that aren't technical will still be able to set up their directory and manage it. And it's kind of fun when you're chatting with something versus, messing with all the stupid things of WordPress that you have to mess with. So with that said, there's now the local lead generation site builder, which is going to be part of Jeremy's platform, as well as a blog. It's a non-CMS type of a blog. Okay, so it doesn't need a database, but they're part of the reason Jeremy's launching that as well is because as a white label provider, I get questions all the time, and this will get back to your question here in just a moment, Roy. And I get asked all the time from white label link building clients if we can do on-page optimization for them, which I say, no, we'll do the consultation. But if you want the actual on-page changes executed, I'll refer you to my webmaster, which is what I mentioned to you, Roy. But they also ask all the time if we'll do content marketing. And I say no, because we don't get involved with your website. Now, we can do content marketing on external branded blogs like branded Web2s or the Google site, or anything else, or on a subdomain. If they were to have a separate subdomain that we could manage, that we as the white label provider could have access to the subdomain blog, but never have access to the main website, because we don't want to touch other people's sites. It's a policy of mine. Okay. Then we can do we can manage content marketing and distribution using a blog on a subdomain. And Jeremy's platform is going to be the vehicle that I use to do that. Okay. Because these are blazingly fast blog pages that are very lean HTML code, not all the bloat from WordPress or from High Level or from any of those other site builders. And they're structured in a very specific way for AI ingestion, which means it's much more likely to be returned when somebody does for AI to reference the brand and the website, because of the way that we are structuring these blog, like the code, basically the way we're structuring the code, which is very lean and it's in a very specific format. I consulted with Jeremy for a couple of weeks about this. And so anyway, the reason I bring that up, Roy, is because we are merging semantic SEO, which is currently where we have our Google business profile optimization services, and we'll do Google Business Management. So Google Business SEO Management Services, which includes on-page optimization, posting, citations, content marketing, but via external blogs. All of that is currently managed under Semantic SEO, but we're merging that with semantic links this month in January. Okay, so by the end of this month, that'll be done. The only reason it would be done right now, but I'm in Dallas for this event, so it's basically eating up a whole week this month. So sometime within the next 2 weeks, that's going to be fully merged, where semantic SEO will be under semantic links. And then one of the new services that we're going to be offering is the local lead generation site building, as well as blogging and content marketing for our white label clients. Okay, and so I'm just telling you that, Roy, because if you, I don't know if you can wait. If you can't wait, don't wait. You know, you can go order. If you wanted us to manage the Google Business Profile, optimize, do all the on-page optimization, photos, you know, all the things, you can check us out at semanticseo.pro, semanticseo.pro. You can check it out. You can schedule a call with me if you'd like. I'm happy to jump on a call with you. We won't build the site for you right now under its current kind of settings, but in 2 weeks, by the way, when semantic SEO is merged with semantic links, it's not like we're going to have that service available immediately. That'll be sometime available in February. Okay, just put it that way. So if you can wait till then, we'll build the site for you. If not, then if you want to work with us at semantic mastery, semantic SEO, semantic links, whatever you want to call it, you just schedule a call with me. We'll have a chat. I'll let you know what we can do for you, and then I can either connect you with my webmaster. He's very, very inexpensive. And they can build the site for your client if you'd like, or you can wait until Jeremy's site builder's done and we'll handle it for you. But it's likely going to be sometime middle of February before we're able to actually start offering the site building services for local lead gen sites and for blogs. Okay, because I got to get into the platform and get familiar with it, and I have to work it into, you know, our overall processes, and got to develop the automations for the orders and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a few weeks, but it's coming. So it's very, very close. And we're definitely expanding a lot of our services, semantic links, over the next several months. I just put a new AI dev, I just hired another AI developer from my staffing agency, Hazel. My executive assistant runs a staffing agency, and we just had a meeting on Monday this week. And starting next Tuesday, I've got a new developer on, a retainer, who's going to be helping me to build out the automations for some of these new services that I was just describing. We got another one called Citation Sniper, which is another service we're building specifically for white label services, which is where we'll go out and find unique citations for each business, like and place them too. We'll find them and place them. It's a high-end service. It's not a cheap mass service. This is a very specific citation building service that is 100% unique, in that we go out and find hyperlocal and industry or niche-based citations or citation sources, and then go out and manually add them for the client. And so it's going to be a higher end service, but it's incredibly effective for local SEO. And that's another service we're going to be launching called Citation Sniper. And that's why part of the reason I had to get an AI dev on retainer to kind of help build out some of that stuff, because I got a number of services I want to launch, and I don't have the ability or the time, the bandwidth to learn how to do all of it myself. So I just had to hire a team to do it. And we're starting on next Tuesday. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I'll have a meeting with the developer to keep the projects on track. And I've got like 6 different things that I'm ready to launch and automate. So just be on the lookout, guys. Semantic Mastery is changing in the next couple of weeks. We'll make it more public. We've already talked about it in our closed setting, our group. But what we do, we'll announce some of the new stuff. And Roy, that'll speak directly to what you're asking about. But in the meantime, feel free to schedule a call with me. Just go to semanticseo.pro. You'll see a calendar widget on the bottom of the page. Just click it, schedule a call with me. It's a 30-minute call. I'm not going to hard sell you on anything. We'll just have a chat and see if it's a good fit. If it is, great. If not, hey, no harm, no foul. You can find somebody else, you know. Our next question: how likely is one to hit $100,000 a month profit with a directory hybrid agency model? How about USD 50K a month profit with the directory hybrid? I don't know about profit, but well, okay. Let's put it this way. All right, look, if you just used white label services, right? And that's what I try to teach people to do. Instead of learning how to do all the SEO stuff first, before you go out and learn how to sell SEO, you know, you can spend months, 6 months, a year, or whatever, learning how to do SEO before you ever make your first dime. And then Once you learn how to do SEO and you feel confident in the ability to go out and now sell it as a service, now you've got to learn the process of marketing to attract your specific, desired client type. And then number two, you have to learn selling, right? You have to craft an offer. You got to test it in order to, dial it in, to fine tune it, to find out what's compelling. So there's so much work that goes into it. And so I've been telling people for 3 years, 4 years, whatever, how many years now, that, to inverse kind of the process. Instead of learning how to do SEO first and then start trying to sell it, learn how to sell it first. Because if you learn how to sell SEO first, you can generate revenue immediately. So why spend 6 months to a year trying to learn how to do all this stuff where you're doing nothing but spending money and investing time and learning and testing and all of that without ever making any money? Instead, why not learn how to sell it first? Find an industry, learn all that you can about that industry, start booking sales, learn how to market to that industry, to generate leads, to generate business owner, leads in that industry, and then get on calls. Initially, just get on calls, not to sell them anything, just call it a discovery call. Like, look, I'm developing solutions to specifically help your industry. I have some questions. Just do that. You're going to very quickly develop a business model around, that particular industry and what they need. You can find others to do that. And so anyway, to get back to what I was saying, semantic SEO, for example, with our white label packages, which are kind of the Google Business SEO management packages, which includes on-page optimization for the GBP, consultation for the website, meaning I will provide like an on-page audit of the site with instructions on what needs to be done to improve the performance of that, and then all the off-page stuff, branded assets, citations, press releases, content marketing, all of the kind of stuff that we need to do off-page in order for the campaign to run. Okay, so that is available to you now, Roy. All right. So let's just say that you went out and you did nothing else but sold our white label services with a $500 per month markup on your end. Okay. And I'm just using this to make the math easy. Okay. But let's just say that you went out and you didn't even have to learn any SEO. All you had to do was go out and sell it, and then use our fulfillment services with a $500 markup or profit margin per subscription that you sell, right? So per account that you sell. You need 200 accounts to hit $100,000 a month in revenue, right? And that's $100,000 a month in profit. If you are generating a $500 margin per client per month, that's 200 clients that you need to hit $100,000 a month. Think about it. Can it be done? Well, if you're not doing the fulfillment, yeah, you're still going to need a team with 200 clients, because you're going to, I don't know about so much of a team, but you're going to need to have proper systematization, whichever. I think you can use those interchangeably. But in any case, you're going to need a system. You don't need to have personnel. You don't need to have a big team. You might need a team that could be AI agents instead of personnel. But you are going to need a team. If you're managing 200 clients, there's no question that you're going to need to have, whether it's human team or an AI agent team, you're going to need a team to be able to manage that. But you could do that without having to fulfill, right? You have to manage the clients. You still have marketing and sales. You still have, accounts receivable, collections, right? You still have to manage funds and all of that kind of stuff and communicate with the clients. But if you're not fulfilling, how possible or realistic is it? It's certainly realistic if you stick with it. The problem is most people will get into it and they'll start talking, they'll pick an industry, they'll start on it, you might even make a few sales, a few closes, and then they'll start thinking about all the different things that they're going to do to improve the business and add more services or target other industries and all these other kind of things, instead of just focusing in on what works, man. There's a methodology out there. I don't remember who came up with it, but pick one industry, one service, right? So one product or service that you're going to offer, one marketing channel. And you do that for that and that only, focus on that and that only for 1 year, right? So pick one industry, one product or service, marketing product, let's just say marketing product or service to provide. And then one channel that you're going to use to generate leads to sell that service now. And you do this for 1 year. Focus on those 4 things for one. So the rule of one, right? And you do that for 1 year. If that's all you did was put all of your attention into that for 1 year. So let's just use this example here of the selling Google business SEO services. So local marketing and, Google business SEO services to whatever industry you've selected. You focus in on that. Let's use cold email, because one of your previous questions was about cold email and advertising. Let's say cold email, because then you don't need a budget, right? Well, you do, but it's very minor. If you're sending if you're using ads to generate leads for your own agency services, you better have your offer dialed in, because you're going to need to spend money on ads. And if you haven't got your offer and everything dialed in yet, then you're going to lose money up front on ads before you start making a return on them. So you're better off with cold email initially, because it's far less expensive, and you can generate. And I've built, again, my agencies have been almost entirely built on cold email for the last 5 years alone. So it works. Okay. But if you focused in on that, so let's just say you pick one industry, whatever it is, you use cold email as your marketing channel, and all you did was learn how to sell Google business SEO services using Semantic SEO's white label fulfillment services. And then every time you make a sale, you have at least a $500 a month markup. Could you hit $100,000 a month? Of course you could. 200 clients, that's a lot of sales. But if you focused in on one industry and that one offer, and that's all you did was book sales calls where you were trying to sell that offer, I guarantee you'd get really good at selling that offer. It's just a matter of time. It's putting in the reps, right? It's just like going to the gym or anything else. It's practice makes perfect, right? The more you do it, the better you get. Just like I can do my sales presentation for selling links to SEOs in my sleep, because I've done it for 4 years in a row now. Like, no kidding. I mean, I go on autopilot on sales calls now, guys. Like, I don't even have to think about it. I can check out entirely, and I can go through my full presentation. Why? Because I've done it for 4 years. Anywhere between 3 to 10 times a week for 4 years. So I know that presentation. I honestly know the questions that they're going to ask. I know from looking at their facial expressions, like what they're thinking, for the most part, and it's just because it's repetition. So, if you put that kind of that focus and attention towards just that one thing, it's absolutely possible. But where I see most people, and I'm guilty of this too, is like, you got something that's working and it's like you become complacent, right? I know, again, same thing. So start looking for other businesses that I can consider, or new products and new services. And I'm not saying you shouldn't expand, but sometimes I even take my eye off of what is the most profitable to chase something that is just a promise, right? It's a wing and a prayer. They say, you know what I mean? So, and that's part of the reason why we're making shifts at Semantic Mastery this month, is because I realize that I've been spreading my attention too thin across too many different businesses, and that's why we're refocusing. And Semantic SEO is merging with Semantic Links. Semantic Mastery is going to really focus in on kind of supporting agencies, not solopreneurs. We're shifting away from that because that's where the money is, and my white label services have proven that. So we are shifting specifically for that reason. And so I highly encourage you, Roy. I think it's a great idea. You can absolutely do it if you focus. And that's the thing. Why would you want to learn to go through all the trouble of, learning how to execute and fulfill all the different marketing services for clients if you can make money off selling it without a headache of fulfillment? Why would you go through the headache of fulfillment? Yes, you can increase your profit margin, sure, but you also increase the complexity of the business and the stress levels and everything else. And so anyway, that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make is it's a very profitable business model when you have a trusted white label provider that you can use, so that you can focus on what generates revenue, which is marketing and sales, and maintaining the relationship with the clients, right? So it's a great model. And we're going to be promoting the hell out of our white label services in the coming weeks, guys. Once our transition is fully done, Semantic Mastery and everything, Semantic Links, Semantic SEO, we're all shifting specifically for this reason, to really go all in on supporting agencies, white label services. I'm developing new services to support agencies, etc. So talk about that soon. All right, next question is from Roy as well. He says, hey, Bradley, I realized Opal Fury is currently closed. Yes, we shut it down. Can you please tell me why it was closed? Yeah, it was too expensive to maintain. And I also I very clearly started to see that Google was, you know, becoming way better at determining what is validated traffic signal and what isn't. And Google ignores traffic signals that it can't validate. And at best, at worst, it can become toxic. And Google can think, if Google thinks that you are manufacturing traffic signals, or that a campaign is receiving manufactured traffic signals, it can ignore genuine user engagement signals, and then you're dead in the water, right? DITW. And so, like, you know, one of the local fury was incredibly difficult. The way that we were managing Google profiles, we were creating Google profiles that had personas that we tried to make and appear to be as real as possible, because they had you know, androids associated with each persona, and they lived in a particular area, so you know, a geographic region, and that persona's Google profile would use that android to navigate around the city, visit sites, visit physical locations, all kinds of stuff, even when that persona wasn't sending signals to a particular campaign that was submitted via local fury. We were trying to keep those personas kind of alive and engaged during, they had waking hours and sleeping hours and all that kind of stuff, seriously. And the reason why we were doing that was to try to make the traffic signals to appear like they were coming from real validated Google users. And it became increasingly difficult and more expensive to be able to do that with the Google profiles. And as just, again, through just a lot of testing, I started seeing that Google was getting better and better at identifying or ignoring non-validated traffic signals. And it was becoming harder and harder and harder to get Google to think that the signals that we were sending were validated. And so it just got to the point where I said, this is stupid. Honestly, I think CTR can be dangerous right now, guys. I've been talking about that. I still offer it at semantic links because I still have some white label clients that they just want CTR. I even try to tell people, like, honestly think it's dangerous right now if it's not done properly. If you want to buy increased click-through rate, go buy Google ads. No shit. I've talked about that for years. Go buy Google ads, not Google search ads. You can do it with that, but that's stupid expensive. Go buy Google display network ads. Right, so display ads, or you can do it with YouTube ads too. But YouTube ads, it's not really about the click as it is about the view. But with display ads, it's the click. And so you can do CTR manipulation with Google ads, and now that's validated traffic sources, right? That you are literally buying traffic from real Google users. So you know, I don't like using CTR anymore, and that's part of the reason why we shut Local Fury down. Okay. It was a thing, guys. I'm not going to sell a service that I feel has a shelf life or that can potentially be toxic. And that's what I saw was coming. And so I said, that's it. We're killing it. So we tried. Over the years, we've tried to do CTR on our own a couple of times, and we spent a lot of money. And Local Fury was the most effective and successful, but only for a period of time. And then when it started to decline, and I saw plain as day that it was likely that we were going to be, we were fighting, and you know, we were pushing a boulder uphill, so to speak. So I said, that's it. We're going to kill it. So next question. Hey, Bradley, it's been a while since I made a lead gen website. Now my client is paying me to build out a new lead gen site, but I don't know what are the best practices these days. Go with a light, lean site. Can you please tell me how you go about writing lead gen website content, homepage, service pages, about page, location pages, blog? I really appreciate it. Yeah, well, I've talked about this a lot, Roy, on the Hump Day Hangouts. The homepage should be about the brand. Service pages should be one page for each product or service that the company provides. That's it. Not 15, not 30, one, right? What do I mean? If it's a service area business and they're targeting 15 locations, cities or towns within their service area, then what do we normally see? We see the service times city for every service times every city. There's a page for it. So if they do carpet cleaning and they're trying to target 15 locations, there would be 15 carpet cleaning pages on the site, one for each location. Don't do that, okay? The homepage should be about the brand. It should state in broad terms, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is where we do it, right? Then your service pages, which you should only have one page for each product or service that the company provides. That should be thoroughly optimized to describe, or thoroughly fleshed out to describe, what the service, product or service is, how it's delivered, what the consumer can expect, what is the timeline, what are average costs, frequently asked questions about the product or service. So the service page should be the page and when I say service page, that applies to both products and services. Those should be the pages that are fully optimized, that very thoroughly explain everything that a consumer could possibly want to know about that product or service and how that company delivers it, right? Or fulfills it, whatever. Okay. But location pages should be lean. Location pages should be about, once again, just like the homepage, who the company is, what they do, and how to contact them or request contact back from them, and then what they do and the services that they provide at that location. So location pages, I think, should be very, very lean and efficient. They should be structurally sound in that you should optimize for entities using the main optimization elements, which is the URL, titles, headings, subheadings, internal links, and media. Those are the main optimization elements of the page. And any paragraph text between the main optimization elements of the page should be optimized for humans. So in other words, those primary optimization elements of the page that I just described should be optimized for bots, not, for the algorithms, not for humans, in my opinion. I mean, you don't want to, should be optimized for both, but the bots are looking at the main optimization elements of the page to determine what the page is about very quickly and efficiently. At least on the local level, guys, the algorithms don't give a shit about the content between your headings and subheadings. I'm telling you, they're not even looking at it. That's why these on-page optimization tools that say you have to have certain entity density and all that, I think they're full of shit. I honestly do. I don't use any of those types of tools for that kind of work, and I think it's ridiculous. I think it's like a dog chasing its tail. It's a negative feedback loop. It reinforces over-optimization, so I don't do it. Optimize the main optimization elements of the page for the bots. Optimize the paragraph text between the main optimization elements for the human to help them to compel them to take whatever conversion goal it is that you want them to take. Right? That's it. Because it makes our jobs a lot easier as marketers, right? Remember, a lot of SEOs call themselves internet marketers, but they don't know the first fucking thing about marketing. Like, there's a lot of that in the SEO industry. I know. I learned a lot about SEO before I knew a little bit about marketing because I learned SEO after I had learned marketing principles from the real estate business that I had. But when I was really first learning SEO, it was really about the technical, just ranking stuff. It was not about applying marketing principles to proper SEO. Over the years, I've learned that that's how you're effective, right? It's not just about ranking stuff. It's about getting the human visitor to take whatever conversion goal, whatever action it is that you want them to take when they are reading or when they land on a page that you've ranked in the search results, right? You want the consumer to then take the action that you want them to take. And so that is a copywriting thing. That is not an SEO thing. It's a copywriting thing, right? And understanding marketing and sales principles. And so to be effective, I think the best way to be effective is to learn both, the SEO side of things, but also the marketing, direct response marketing and sales side of things and copywriting so that you can be a lot more effective as an SEO. All right. So the point that I'm getting at is with the website, it's a simple structure, guys. One page for each product and service the company provides, one page for each town or city that the company wants to provide their services in. The homepage should be optimized for the brand. Very broad terms. This is who we are. This is what we do. This is where we do it. Service pages should be very thoroughly optimized for the product or service, how it's delivered, how much it costs, what the consumer can expect, what's the timeline, frequently asked questions. All of those things should be very thoroughly defined and clarified on that service page. Location pages should be very lean, that are navigational pages that tell the consumer you landed on the right page because this is who we are, this is how to contact us or request contact back from us, and these are the services that we provide at this location. And you do not need to have descriptions for each of the services on the location page. All you need is a very clear navigational element within the content body of the page that says these are the services that we provide in this area or at this location. And then it's just an internal link list that lists and links to the service pages. There's no reason to have a paragraph of text about carpet cleaning on every location page if there is a page on the site already about carpet cleaning. There's only needs to be one page on the site that already describes carpet cleaning, not on every location page another paragraph of text explaining what carpet cleaning is. That's ridiculous. It's unnecessary. It just amazes me that there's SEOs in this industry, and I'm not talking to you, Roy, that are out there using ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude every single day, yet they think that you still have to hammer Google over the head with fucking keyword optimization tactics. Like it just blows me away. Like, are you stupid? And I'm not talking to you, Roy, but SEOs that are out there using Claude and Claude Code and all this other kind of stuff, and they're AI is amazing. Yet I'm going to beat Google over the head with keyword optimization and redundancy and all this other stuff. Come on, man. So to get back to the question, I've been talking about that for months, Roy, for years actually. But it's a very simple process. If you think of the site that way, then it makes it much easier to build and to create the copy for it. Right? Homepage, brand, service pages fully describe the product or the service. Location pages should be very lean navigational pages that let the consumer know they landed on the right page, how to contact the company or request contact back from the company, and here are the services that we provide at this area or in this location. That's it. That's all that needs to be there. You can add additional things to the pages. The other stuff is just fluff, right? It's just filler. Okay. All right. Hopefully that's good. I'm going to skip the YouTube comments because they suck usually anyway. So, moving on, the next one is Josh says, do you use AI in your SEO process at all? Yes, all the time. If so, how do you use AI in your SEO process? What AI do you use in particular? Almost always Gemini. My two favorite models are Gemini and Grok, but I use Gemini. Grok is more for just chatting and kind of the research side of things, the front end side of things. I do a lot in Grok with, but then almost every single time I start doing any sort of building of any sort of application or workflow or any automation or anything at all, I do it in Gemini. Gemini is fucking amazing because it connects with, it's fully integrated in Google Workspace. So I've upgraded my Workspace. I've got 2 Workspace accounts now that I've upgraded to Workspace Enterprise. Also, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Gemini also has an enterprise subscription level that is different than the Workspace account. And so there's a Gemini enterprise subscription level, which I also subscribe to for those 2 same accounts that I went to Workspace Enterprise. I now have Gemini Enterprise for both of those accounts as well, which opens up a whole lot of additional integrations. And so I do almost everything that I do in my building is within Gemini. And so especially when I'm doing AI SEO work or SEO work using AI, I'm doing it in Gemini. Why? Because Gemini is the AI or the LLM that powers Google search now, right? And so if we optimize for Gemini, then we're not only going to perform well in Gemini, we're also going to perform well in Google search, and that likely carries over to the other models as well. So Perplexity, ChatGPT, Claude, etc. Does that make sense? So, but yeah, I mean, again, part of what we're doing with semantic links and semantic SEO, merging the two and the shifts that we're making under the semantic brands that we're making this month, is that we are going to be offering a lot more AI SEO services and analyses under the semantic brands, semantic links, service, white label services. So, and all of that is very data driven using Gemini. Gemini is again the main engine that or driver of. It's the model that I use for almost all building. Okay, it's freaking amazing, especially with the Gemini Enterprise with Workspace Enterprise. You combine those guys. Look, for example, I took my own personal Gmail account, so Bradley Benner at Gmail, and I don't know if you guys. I didn't know this. Just on Christmas Day, I found out. No kidding, it was on Christmas Day. I found out that you can convert a Gmail account into a Workspace account, like your own personal account. So I've had bradleybenner.com as a domain for years. So when I found out that I could convert my personal Gmail account to a Workspace account, I did that. And I said, so my email now is, I can log in with either bradleybenner@gmail.com or email@bradleybenner.com, which is my new Workspace account. So my personal account is now a Workspace account, just to be clear. I can log in with either email. Anyway, so it's a single user Workspace Enterprise account. If you sign up for a year, it's still monthly billing, but if you sign or commit to billing for a year, it's $27 a month for an enterprise account for a solo user, workspace enterprise, solo user. $27 a month, guys. Think about that. Then if you add Google Gemini Enterprise Business on top of that with an annual commitment, it's an additional $21 a month. So it comes out to be $48 a month to have Gemini Enterprise and Workspace Enterprise, which opens up a whole lot of additional, again, integrations. And it's incredibly powerful. And I'm going to be I may be starting another series like I did a few years ago on Twitch when I was streaming on Twitch every day for like an hour. I may do something like that again, specifically for how I'm building what is called PAI, which is a personal AI assistant. Daniel Meisler, if you guys go look up Daniel Meisler, PAI, like literally just an acronym P is in personal AI assistant. It's Daniel Meisler. Go look it up and you'll see his GitHub. You can follow him on X. He's got a YouTube channel. It's freaking amazing. He's got this whole philosophy that is just like I'm just absolutely fascinated with. And he talks about creating what it's called your own personal AI. So your own PAI, personal AI assistant, and using what's called Telos. So Telos is kind of like your driving your what drives you. There's a personal telos and then there's a corporate or a business telos for your business, and that's basically like your personal values, your corporate values, like what drives you, what's your why behind why you do things, all that kind of stuff. And like all of this is so that you can integrate AI to become like a personal assistant and have a swarm of AI agents, literally a swarm of AI agents that are available for you at any given time with just simple commands that can be done with via, like, for example, terminal. So like if you're on a PC and you're on command prompt, or you use a terminal, access PowerShell, something like that. Or with Google, you can use Gemini CLI, so the command line interface, Gemini CLI. But like all of this stuff is really crazy. If you guys just go look up Daniel Meisler, he's on GitHub and YouTube and X, and just look up PAI, personal AI assistant, and read about it. You'll see it's this whole philosophy. I'm fascinated with it. And so I'm not a coder, and like I really don't want to take the time to try to learn Claude Code and all that other kind of stuff. So I've been learning how to build Daniel Meisler's PAI system using Google apps and tools only. And that's how I got introduced to Gemini Enterprise and Workspace Enterprise and everything else, because with that level of enterprise, with the enterprise level accounts for Workspace and Gemini, it's going to make it to where I can build the PAI system for myself without being a coder, right? So it's a no code or low code system. And it's really, really powerful. And so that's part of the reason why, because I had started building it previously with my Workspace and Gemini accounts, but there was a lot of third-party apps and stuff like hacks that I had to do to get it to work properly. But with the Gemini, the enterprise account levels, it makes it to where like everything is held and contained within the Google ecosystem using Google Drive and all that kind of stuff. And so it just makes it a lot easier because all the apps communicate without having to be a coder and having to make all these different API connections, if that's clear. So anyways, do I use AI in SEO? Yeah, all the time. We're going to be talking a lot more about that as I start launching those services under Semantic Links, the AI SEO services. Then we will absolutely be promoting them and talking them about those a lot more in the public setting. Okay. We're almost done, guys, and it's picking up in here, so I'm going to wrap up as soon as we hit the 5 o'clock mark. All right, a couple more questions. Josh says, what do you think about AI written content? Can AI written content rank well on Google by any chance? Yes, 100%. How do you get AI content to perform better? Assign authorship to it. If you have a subject matter expert that is a verifiable, real person, and again, getting back to what I was talking about with CTR earlier about validated traffic signals, if you assign an author profile to a piece of content that is 100% AI generated with no even human editing, but that author profile that has now claimed authorship or ownership of the content, it can bypass the AI filters just like that. It's like, it's again, Google's looking for ways to be more efficient and use less resources. Google is automatically applying AI suppression filters to content that has no authorship assigned to it. And if it detects that it's AI content. But if it's AI written content, but there's an author that is claiming that they wrote that, it bypasses those AI suppression filters. I mean, just like that. And I've done a lot of testing on that over the last few weeks and or last few months, excuse me. And just by assigning authorship, but it's not just any old author. It has to be an author profile that that is a verifiable subject matter expert. Well, what makes them a subject matter? Do they have to be an industry leader? No. Joe the plumber from down the street that does 24-hour emergency plumbing services, if he has a contracting license, he's a master plumber. He has to in order to have a contracting license. So he's a subject matter expert in plumbing, right? He doesn't have to be famous in his industry, right? He's a subject matter. Joe the plumber is a subject matter expert in plumbing. So if he has a profile that is now claiming authorship of content, it was 100% AI written, but he is assigning his name to it, attaching his name to it as though he wrote it. That content will perform significantly better than if you just publish content for Joe the plumber, but had no on behalf of his company, but you didn't assign authorship to it. So yes, AI written content absolutely still works. We still try to for client facing content, not link building, even link building content, we have human editors. But when we are publishing content on branded blogs for clients, which we do as part of our semantic SEO services, we still have a human editor. We don't publish anything purely AI generated, but you can if you have proper authorship. Hopefully that's clear. A couple more guys and we're going to be done. If I were to use you guys' white label SEO service, should I first purchase the local ops SEO blueprint so I can have an understanding of what's being done? Yeah, I highly encourage that. Look, if you're out there selling our service, right, you should have a good understanding of it. It will make it easier to sell, right? You'll have more confidence in the service. Therefore, it'll make it easier to sell. Guys, if you are trying to sell something you're not confident in, that's why you're not closing sales. That's why if you aren't confident in your own abilities to produce results for a client, and then you get on a sales call with a prospect and try to sell them on your services that you're not even fully confident in, that's why you're not closing sales. You get it? Like a prospect can smell desperation like a dog can smell fear. I'm not kidding, guys. It comes through in your tonality and everything else. There are subtle kind of signs that, again, you have to be confident in what you're selling. So to get back to your question, Josh, yeah, 100%. If you are going to be out selling fulfillment services that you're not actually fulfilling, then you ought to at least have a pretty damn good understanding of what it is that you're selling and how it operates, etc. And so the local ops SOP is specifically for that. It's to give you the fastest path to deliver results for a client. And there's two options. There's the do-it-yourself option or the done-for-you option. And the local ops SOP gives you both paths for each item within the SOP. There's training if you want to learn how to do it yourself, and there's done-for-you services. But in any case, you'll have a much better understanding of the different components and how they all fit together, and it'll make it much easier to sell. So yeah, 100%. But guys, it's very inexpensive. $300 one-time fee. It's the exact blueprint that I use for clients every single time. Right? Certainly the quantities of those items may change depending on competition levels and everything else, but it's the same exact set of things that I do every time in the exact same order every time. The only difference is the quantity of those things. That's the only thing that changes. Okay. Do you know anything about Caleb Oka? He does SEO, and it seems his approach is not exactly the same as semantic mastery approach. Yeah, well, if you have 10 different SEOs, all 10 SEOs are going to have a different approach. I've always been okay with that. I don't know who Caleb Oka is, so I don't have an opinion about him, to be honest with you. And no, that's no slant against Caleb. I just don't know who he is, so I have no opinion. But honestly, I'm not saying my way of doing local SEO is gospel or law, guys. I've never said that. I've never said that. Not once in my entire career have I said my way is right and everybody else's way is wrong. Never once have I ever said that, because this is SEO. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. I talk about the way that I like to skin cats. Just Would somebody extract that clip out and use that, right? No, but seriously, my method of SEO is my flavor. It's my method. It's my own unique approach to SEO. That's what I teach. Other people are going to teach their own unique approach, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. And any one of you guys that are learning SEO and everything else, I've encouraged that even though we're only students. Like, I'm not saying just follow what I have said. If you want to be a really good SEO, go learn from multiple sources and create your own flavor of SEO. That's the best way to become really good at SEO, is you go learn and you'll pick up bits and pieces from different mentors, and then you'll create your own kind of flavor of SEO based upon, mixing and matching bits and pieces that you got from various mentors over the years. That's what I did. I mean, I can name the kind of most influential mentors in my career were Ivan Budimir. By far the most influential in my career was Ivan Budimir. But also Jimmy Kelly, Greg Morrison, Russell Wright, from the whole Network Empire crew, some of the guys from OMG, more recently, Jesper Nissen, Peter Drew, these are all people that have had influences on my career. And so I create my own flavor based upon, things that I've learned from other gurus, and then kind of make my own type of SEO. That's what I recommend you do as well. My last question, guys, is from Fred. He says, do you have some local blog examples where you're using the author box for increased authority? I don't have any examples pulled up for you, but here's just an example of what an author box looks like. Here's the code, guys. It's very simple. I just create one of these for each of my clients. This is just simple HTML code, right? You understand? That's all this is. This is what it looks like when it's rendered right here. This is the HTML viewer code here, and this is what it looks like. So I just did an example using, I created this HTML author box code with my own profile in it, and I just have that saved as a drive file, and I keep that available so that anytime we land a new client, all we do is just copy this code, and it'll just replace, the necessary information with the client's information, a picture of them, their social media profiles. That's it. It's just HTML. And so that code snippet can be inserted into any external blog platform, right? As long as it has a text editor or code editor, right? An HTML editor, and a WYSIWYG editor. What you see is what you get. That's typically where most people operate, is in the WYSIWYG editor, which is the visual editor. But the code editor or HTML editor, all we do is just switch to that, paste this in with the details swapped out for the client's information, which is now we're assigning authorship to whoever usually the founder of the company, but it can also be just an employee or whatever. So we just copy this in, and now in Google Sites, WordPress, Blogger, Tumblr, any of them, we just copy that in, go to the text editor, paste it in at the bottom of the article, and that's it. And you publish the article, there it is. Now you've got an author box with links to their socials, etc. Very, very simple, guys. Don't overcomplicate this stuff, right? This is a simple, old school HTML box, and it works perfect for exact use case that we've described. Okay, guys, I think we're done. Let me see.
Yeah, I got some comments over on YouTube. Probably do a quick run through of those.
Okay. David, what's up, buddy? Happy New Year to you, man. Let's see. Clients still want to be ranked organically, and if you're organically listed, you're likely listed in the ad. Yeah, no, look, 100%. I didn't say don't optimize for organic search. It's not what I said. Just to be clear, I've never said that. I say, even in my audits today, or recently, I've said, listen, you're not going to generate leads from local organic search. You're just not going to. It's just not going to happen. You'll get the occasional lead, but you're not getting leads from ranking an organic search. But it's still important to rank an organic search, to optimize for organic search. Why is it still important? Well, because it influences AI search performance, right? And not only that, but when somebody does a brand search, you want to also be fully populated. The first at least 2, 3, 4 pages of the search results should be fully populated with no competitors whatsoever when it's a brand search, because consumer search behavior has shifted in that people typically go to their favorite model first and ask for recommendations for products or services in their local area, and whatever brand references the AI model returns, then they go search for that in Google search by brand name, if that's clear. And so you want to optimize for organic search for those reasons, because it influences AI search performance, and because you want the brand search to be incredibly strong when the consumer then goes searches for the brand. And so Again, I don't ever say to any clients, oh, don't worry about organic search performance. I just say you're not going to get leads from organic search performance, but it's still important to optimize for it, if that's clear. Okay. How to do a second GBP without getting flagged these days? There's no way to do it without getting flagged that I know. When you say flagged, you mean video verification, right? In some cases, if you produce enough evidence that a business actually resides at a location before attempting to claim and verify the GBP, or to submit to GBP first, then what do I mean by, like, if you have enough evidence? If you've got citations built, press releases that are published with that mention the physical location within the content body of the press release, branded web 2s, all of the kind of stuff so that there's enough indexed data within Google's index that supports that that corroborates or validates that an actual business resides at that location, then you can sometimes bypass the video verification and get seriously a postcard verification, with the pin to get sent to the office, or an SMS or email verification. I've seen that happen somewhat recently just from having enough data published online ahead of time. But even when we do that, the majority of the times now is still video verification. And so there's no way to overcome it. You just have to have a real valid business location, or you got to spoof it with, like, you still got to put a sign up on the door with a video, with the webcam. A lot of times they'll make you do it with the phone with the webcam. You still got to go look at, show that the sign's on the door, walk into the office, the setting, whatever it is, show that there's, documents there that have corporate, information, documents that have the company name addressed with that physical address on it and all that kind of stuff. So you still have to go through all of those things. The only thing, like I said, is sometimes you can overcome it with enough data ahead of time that it will bypass the video verification, but the vast majority of times it's triggering video verification no matter what you do. So that's why I don't even teach trying to do spam GBP listings. If you're working with a company and they want to expand by opening another GBP, ask them, do they have an employee or a family member or somebody, where then you can set it up to simulate that there is actually a business operating from that location, which includes literally posting a sign on the door, having documents on a desk, all that kind of stuff, seriously. But you're still spamming the listing, to be clear. But that's the only way that I would recommend doing it now, is if you have access to a real, like, it doesn't have to be an office, right? It can be a family member or an employee's home, especially if it's in an industry where that's typical. In the tree service industry, it's almost 100% home offices. Okay. But anyways, it is what it is, guys. That's why I tell people, just don't even bother anymore. Unless you can get an actual business location, I don't even bother anymore. I don't. I think it's just silly. Kevin says, Bradley, WordPress isn't so bad. I disagree, Kevin, 100%. I hate WordPress. Captain David says he pulled the plug on WordPress. Kevin says, personally, I would rather use WordPress for my standard build over years than high level. Well, now I say I would rather use WordPress right now than high level, because high level sites aren't performing now. But for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, they did perform really well. And then something changed again. Now they don't perform at all. And so I hate the fact that I told anybody to do it. Because for about a year and a half, high level sites were crushing. And then now, like, once again, and before that, I told people avoid them like the plague. And then all of a sudden something changed, and it wasn't Google that changed. I think it was high level that changed. Something in high level sites changed, and Google does not like it. Not been able to get those sites to perform ever since. So that's why I just said I'm done with those WordPress and high level sites. I want to go back to HTML, back to what, like, old school shit works. Blair, what's up, Blair? Blair says the directory method brings in clients if you work it. 100% it does. 100% it does. But it's not a shiny object, Blair, and that's why most people don't pursue it. David says, I want to have a community where people are using AI platform heavily more than others. I want to be around people who are proficient in these platforms. It would be a great resource. David, come join the mastermind. We got brand new pricing. I just mentioned we just launched, we just announced it in our mastermind community, but we've got two levels now, and we've reduced our pricing. Okay, so we've got an
Yeah,
entry
just
level.
real quick though, it's not live yet, Bradley, to the public, but it will be very shortly.
Okay, it's not live yet, but we've got 2 levels. The entry level is $49 a month, and we're opening up our entire mastermind program for $49 a month. No kidding, guys. We've been charging $297 a month for years for this program. It's now $49 a month. That is not a joke. Okay, all of our training, everything. We don't have it publicly available yet, guys. When I get back from Dallas next week, sometime is when we'll be announcing this publicly, like, and we'll have the checkout page and all that stuff. But then the next level up is going to be $199 a month, and that's going to open up 2 office hours days per week with me on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for 90 minutes each day, where I'm every week. So on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, there's a 90-minute period of time where I'm going to be on a Google Meet. Anybody in the pro tier can jump on and ask for specific support. I can look at client campaigns. Any kind of support you need. And it's an AI-driven first principles is what I am completely developing everything around my services now. It's 100% AI-driven. So come check it out, David. Our pricing is going from $297 a month to $49 a month for full mastermind access. And then if you want the additional coaching and access to me or an additional 3 hours per week, every single week, that's $199 a month, which includes all the mastermind stuff. So, and we'll be announcing that next week, I think. Our last one, I found you to be one of the most influential SEOs in my career for this, which is why I still show up. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. You know, it's funny because I always talk about Ivan Budimir, who got out of the business like around 2013 or 14. And he was the most influential for me. First 2 to 3 years of my career in local SEO, Ivan Budimir was like, he was like my primary mentor. I learned more from that dude than anybody else. There's no question. And then he got out of the business, and that broke my heart. I wish he was still in the business. No shit, because I would still probably be associated with him. Anyway, I appreciate you, David. Thanks, man. Thanks everybody else, and thanks everybody for sticking with us today. We'll see everybody next week.
Bye, everyone.